All right, so that is Tuesday. Okay, so just to start off a little bit here, calendar review really fast. Tuesday is when the critique for the HTML CSS build is due. You need to have it as a web page. It needs to look pretty close to what your style guide looks like. Okay, again, it doesn't have to be exact, but it should be pretty close. I'm looking at this going, that's not a slab. Is it really a slab? I don't think that font loaded. Oh, no, it is. Is your bottom a slab? Huh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, sorry. I got distracted for a second. Yeah, you need to have your icons. I haven't played with my spacing here yet. Like this stuff I need to clean up. But this is more or less what it should look like. Okay. Hopefully everybody has figured out how to get their icons out of XD. The easiest way to do it, of course, is to have them all as a group. Don't have them in subgroups within XD. I've gone over this a couple of times in class, and it should be in the recordings. I think I showed you guys in class last Thursday, and then Tuesday I did it again for them. But the easiest way to do this is to find, however you have your icons laid out in your XD document, they can be grouped and should be grouped, but only in one group. So if we look at my layers here, I've got my 4 groups: normal, pending, success, and error. And I colored them each, the way they need to be colored. And so I'm exporting them this way, all right, so that they all match and they all look right. One thing I was noticing and thinking about actually just here a second ago was I'm coloring the back of the divs with CSS, and that's what is making it look like this. But that's giving a lot of extra space because when I exported, if we look at it, there's all this weird space happening at the bottom of my divs for my icons, and there's nothing that's telling me like why that's happening, because these are obviously the size. Oh no, that padding is padding I added on. But this SVG itself shouldn't really distort like this. It's not margin, it's not padding or anything. And so that is actually going to cause me some issues when I'm trying to space these correctly. So one thing you could do is that this background rectangle that I have here, which one is this? It's pending. We could drop that inside of pending, put it at the base. Now, something about this, let's put it at the bottom here. Okay. What's that? I feel like, all right. It's kind of hard to like get it in there. There we go. All right, so put it at the bottom of this, and then grab pending, click on your quick export button there. Oops. Mark the whole thing for export, and then come to export and export selected. And then we're going to export this. This will get us close to where we were. What class is this? We are this class. Examples, SVGs, and this is our pending SVG. Hit export. I know, replace. So what's going to happen is it's going to export with that that background in it already. So if I reload my page, oh, it didn't. No, it should have. Reload. No? Where are we pulling this? Oh, right. Sorry. No, it won't, because I have to copy that into the... I keep thinking I'm like loading it as an image. So it's loading the file each time, and I'm not. Is it AG? No. What is the... there's a shortcut for jumping to the top. Select to top. No, don't select to the top, but anyway. Okay, well, let's collapse some divs here. Icon group, icon pending. Here we go. So this is the one I need to load. I wonder if we can just load it as an image. Let's double check that. I bet we can. CSS moz image. Yeah. What file formats can you take? Images no intrinsic, but with an intrinsic aspect ratio between its width and height, like an SVG or other vector form. Oh, we can take an SVG. All right, let's try that. I don't know why I did it this way. All right, let's collapse this SVG. That'll let us collapse it here. I'm going to delete this SVG. I'm going to put it in an image tag. And I'm going to load the SVG from the image tag. We're just doing this as a test here. So copy project path and paste it in there. All right, let's see how much this messes it up. Hey, it just dumps it right on top. All right, so that's pretty big, but that's because I haven't given it any dimensions or told it what to be or anything like that. Because I have icon group SVG, so icon group image. There we go. Hey, that's what I want. Okay, so that's what we want. I'm going to delete these colors, these background colors really quick. And then we're going to go through and I'm going to delete all these SVGs and replace them with image tags. I don't know why I didn't do that to begin with. Live and learn, right? So let's grab our copy project path, paste that in there. All right. This one, image, this is success, copy project path. Well, I'm gonna have to reload, re-import that SVG, these SVGs here. Yep.
What's the difference between when you use class and when you use div?
Or
when would you use one over the other?
Class or div?
Yeah.
They're different things. A div is an element, it's a container. Class is a way of identifying that container. So the difference, like there's ID and class, which are two different ways of identifying a container, an element. Does that make sense? Why would you do two different ones? Like ID and class?
Yeah.
So class is for general characteristics. So if you have like multiple instances of something like these icons, they all have a class called icon group because I want them all to have a width of 45% and padding of 2 rems around them. Okay. But then each individual icon group div has its own separate unique ID because I was wanting the ability to change something specific about just those individual containers, not as a group. Does that make sense? You use class for group characteristics, you use IDs for specific characteristics. And then in terms of like browser rendering, the ID, any characteristic set to the ID will override the characteristics of the class.
All right.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this should get us here. Perfect. All right, and then we just grab this rectangle and we stick it behind error, very bottom. We grab error, we mark error for export, go export selected, select error, SVG, we override it, do all that, and then come back here and boom. See, that's so good. I like that. It's very easy. It's much easier than trying to do it in the CSS and try to play with the wonkiness of how that SVG was loaded in there and all that junk. One thing we can do is probably just take off that padding. Yeah, that tightens it up quite a bit. What's giving us the weird spacing? Group. Oh, it's just that their width is set weird. Let's go 49. 8%. Okay, and let me do the last one here. Oops. Stick. Success. Bottom. Inside group, come on. Okay. Success is marked for export. I'm going to export it. Success. Place it. So one thing about this though is we're actually going to want to also put a white rectangle behind the normal group. So let's make that white.
When you exported it, did you still do the optimized file?
I don't recall doing it, but I may have, yeah. Oh, and so actually, like your grouping, how these are all grouped together really doesn't matter since we're loading them as images. So I'm just gonna group them all like that to make it easier to deal with. Here, all right, normal is marked for export. Oh, wait, that made it huge. Where's my rectangle? Oh, there's my rectangle. Okay. Get that corner out there. Thanks. Hide everything else real quick. I'll just align these really quick. Okay. So once they're aligned normally like this, then okay, great. Grab the group. Now we can export it. Yeah, I mean, you can optimize it. This isn't gigantic. So like if we look at the file sizes of these, like if we just go to Reveal in Finder, the file size of these documents is these SVGs is so small, Carrie, that it doesn't matter really. So these are unoptimized. That's optimized. It's like it's a little under half the size. Not even, it's like 2/3 of the size. If you have like a ton of these, then yeah, optimize them.
Oh.
But just a few, it's not gonna matter. And we don't have any images or anything in this page, so it's not a big deal. All right, load the page. Boom. Oh, that's so nice. That looks great. Let's take this, let's change this to 49%. Nope, 48%. Oh, interesting. So maybe 49.5%. 49.9%. 8%. It's just going to get bigger only. Yeah, that works. 49.8. Not 29. 49. We'll take off the runs. Okay. There we go. Right. All right, that works. Looks pretty good. Yeah, so I was talking about like making, doing some animation stuff. So there's a lot that we can do with CSS animation. Animation is a declaration block that has different characteristics than normal CSS. You have to set it up and think about it in terms of keyframes. Has anybody done animation before? Any kind of animation?
I did it on Adobe.
Okay, so a long time ago. So with keyframes, in animation, you always have like the specific. You have like you have drawings. You have specific, unique images that represent the change over time that you want your animation to go through. So for a walk cycle, that's like a standing pose, kind of like this. Then you maybe would have like a middle pose, which is like one leg out like this, and maybe you have another pose that's like this, which is flip-flop of the legs, and then maybe you have a stop pose, right? In between, so those would be your keyframes. Okay. Then you have in betweens, which would be like the leg coming up and leaning forward, like this, right? And then you put those together, and when you run them as fast as they usually do, which is like 24 frames per second, then you get the illusion of motion, right? So our brain puts it together. So it works similarly with CSS. It works on the same principle. This is JavaScript, not. Here we go. Okay. So in CSS, we have these things. So we set up an animation. We say this element is animated, so we call it an animation, and then we give it characteristics for this animation. How long is it? We have what's called, actually, what do you call that? Kind of like, it's the motion graph essentially. It's like how does it animate? Does it loop? Does it go backwards or forwards, etc.? There's a bunch of different things that we can think about. Timing function, that's what it's called. Is there a delay? How many times do we do it? What direction are we going? There's a bunch of other different characteristics that we can set. When you are writing an animation, let's see if they show it. Well, there we go. When you're, no, these are all kind of the same. It's a good example at animation tricks. There we go, or CSS tricks. When you're writing an animation, you have to write you have to set a keyframe declaration, okay? So you're saying keyframes, what is the name that you're naming for this? And this can be anything you want. This is what you use in your animation characteristic to call that animation, to load it for an element, okay? And then you're saying, okay, what's happening? Well, 0% is the beginning of your keyframe. It goes from 0 to 100, 100% for keyframes. And at any point between a 0 and 100, you can set different characteristics. And then it will, those are your keyframes, and then the browser will figure out those in-betweens automatically. We'll try to ramp smoothly between them, okay? So what this is saying, what this declaration block is saying, is that at the beginning, at 0, the background color should be this, whatever it is. It's like a dark blue, okay? And then at 100, the background color should be this, and this is like a red. And so what it's doing is this, right? So that's the basic animation, and then how the animation is treated is up here in the element. And it's saying, okay, animation, load the animation pulse, which is right here. It should play for 5 seconds. It should take 5 seconds to go from 0 to 100, okay? And then it should loop infinitely. So it should just keep doing this. Does that make sense? Okay. Now in CSS, we have these things called pseudo classes, which are ways of letting the browser listen for certain things to happen to then have different characteristics be applied. The most common being a hover. Okay, and that's the mouse hovering over an element. This only works on desktops with mice. Because on a phone, yeah.
So this is CSS?
Yeah, this is CSS.
Is that like the same as JavaScript, like on mouse over?
Yes. Hover and on mouse over are the same thing. Pretty much. One thing you can't do in CSS that you can do in JavaScript is the click, like listening for mouse clicks. Once you can do that in CSS, it's going to make a lot of JavaScript superfluous. Anyway, yeah, so for mobile designs, hover states are non-existent, because how do you know if your finger is hovering over something? You just have taps, right? So using hover is not always great anymore, but on a desktop it's fun. So some of the things I like to do with hover is like, we could hover over this and change the font style. You could have it animate its colors. We could set up a gradient of color for all of these. Like if you want each of these to have a different color, right? Then you need to set them up inside of essentially their own H2s. Every single one of these. Like, I mean, that's something we can do. Let's do it. Let's do it. She's like, Carrie's like, ah. Should we not do that, Carrie?
It's up to you.
You don't have to do it. I'm going to do it. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So there's my H1. Actually, so here's what we're going to need to do. Each one of these letters needs to be in its own H1. So you have to like think about how this is going to work. So we'll set it up inside of a div so that we can apply, what are we going to call it? Div, we'll say ID. We'll call it H1 gradient. All right, so let's close our H1. H1, how many do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because I need one for the space. Okay, so I'm going to do 10 of these. Actually, I have 8, so I need to do H1 times 8. All right, it's going to be so much fun, you guys. People watching at home are just like, oh my god, is he really doing this? So just as a heads up, this is not something, oh, I have more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, oops. This is not something you have to do. This is just me being a goof. Because I think this stuff is kind of fun. I will say that there's probably an easier way to do this, but not one that is as simple. All right, so H1 gradient. I'm going to put all my stuff up here. Too much space here. All right, so we're going to do column 1 because I put it in a group. So I need to open that up, make it lowercase. Then let's do div ID H1. Oh, I have a number in there. Shoot. Remember that we'll just call it gradient. Don't do numbers in your classes and IDs. All right. So here's what needs to happen. If we want them all to pulse as a gradient, but we want them to be different colors. So we have to set up a different color scheme for each one of them. There's got to be a way to do that. And CSS, I don't know. You know, let's do a little research first. Can we? CSS, gradient, color. We can do gradient as a color. That's not really what I want. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. Is it though? Can we do like a random CSS random color and hover? Ow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying JavaScript. How old is this? This is 5 years old. Come on. It's JavaScript. There's gotta be a way to do it. Screw it. We're gonna brute force this. All right. What do I want to do? I just want to set up the animation. Gosh, we really are gonna have to do like different. We'd have to do it if we wanted each of the colors to have a different transition, like a different pulse. Each of the letters has a different pulse, then each of the letters has to have a different animation. Or yeah, different animation attached to it. All right, that's fine. It's not fine, it's terrible, but it's fine. What else were we going to do today, right? Space between. Oh gosh, I still have not done your extra reading. Jeez. Look at you guys benefiting from my inability to remember to assign you reading. That's fine. Flux, justify content space between. How did that quiz go for you guys? I forgot to ask. Yeah? Did you guys all manage to get 100 on it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, so we're just going to use this. I'm going to make sure this loads it correctly. Okay, it made it a little wider, which is not great. I wonder if there's some like weird spacing. Oh, okay, each of these has the, oh no, it's taking the margin. Oh, is it the line height stuff? Did I not? We could play that line height a little bit. Line height. Let's go 5 room. Just see what that looks like. Yikes. Okay, maybe not. Do we need some? I think it's 2.5 rooms of margin. So. Oh, I mean, that's not bad. A little bit more space. Oh, interesting. I put a space in that one empty one. But it's not reading it. Oh, it's not even reading it as a space. It's reading it as just empty. Shoot. Let's do a dash. So there's actually a letter in there. And then we can, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the 6th one down. So here's something fun in CSS. We can say div ID gradient. If I can remember how to spell gradient. Then we do nth child. Did that not work? I'm forgetting my nth child stuff. Okay. Oh, right. Duh. Sorry, colon, nth child. So this nth child, what nth child does is, oops, I'm really forgetting my stuff. This is a pseudo class, or pseudo selector. And what it does is it says, grab a child of this container, and then you just tell it which one to grab. And so, like if I wanted to do every other, you could do 2n, which I think will give me every other. So let's save this, and then let's change the colors really quick. So we'll go like color red. Well, what is our red? FF7171. FF7171. Say, oh, gosh. All right, so save that. And now what should happen is nothing. Why does nothing happen? Because headshot red. Okay, yeah, we can do even and odd. What am I saying? Oh, duh. H1. There we go. So that gives every other color red, okay, to start. And then, like, every other... Actually, this would be a good way to do this. Then we could do div gradient H1, nth child, odd. The keyboard is today. Color, and we could set this up as our second primary color, which is this blue, 71CEFF. 71CEFF. That makes them blue. Does this make sense to everybody? All right. So this, what we're doing is just changing the even and odd numbers to be different colors like this. So once we've done that, but I know that the 6th one, so I should be able to go, copy this and say instead of nth child, just say 6. And instead of this, say ff, which is white. And then it disappears, and it gives me that spacing that I wanted. Okay, so now what I want to do is we could do an on hover, which would change, like, we could say div gradient hover, and we could say text or font style italic. Something you can do. So you see when I mouse over it, it changes to italic. You could string a bunch of stuff together. It just depends on what you want. Especially if you remember, we could go to the heavier font weight, but I don't think I loaded one. I don't have a font. I do have a not bold, but 700. Why are we not loading here? Font weight 300. Oh, it's not overwriting this, which I find interesting. There we go. Oh, that's fun. That's a lot of fun. Well, that's something we could also set up in the animation too. All right, let's get this animation going. Can we animate nth children?
Are you going to be able to look at CSS and HTML for having to?
Absolutely. Are you having trouble?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to? Yeah, send it to me.
Okay.
No. Yeah, that's what you have to do.
Should I just send the folder as
Oh, there's an animation delay you can set for each of these. Oh, that's clever. Yes, zip the entire project together. Oh, all right. Here's what we're gonna. I'm having fun with this, guys. Yeah, send it to me, and I'll stop what I'm doing here, and we'll do it. Okay, I got to think about this real quick. Yeah. Div gradient h1 nth child 1 animation delay. This. That goes for Trayton and Alex. If you guys want me to look at your stuff today too, just holler. I'm having way too much fun with this, so someone needs to tell me to stop having fun. Have more fun. All right. 1, 2, 3, 5. Oh no. The only issue with this is then where I'm creating a lot of like just little animation things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Did you send it, Carrie?
Yeah.
Okay. 8, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. All right, I'm going to save this and then let me look at yours. Flu shot's on Monday, guys. Get your flu shot. You have to, actually, this year, so it is required. On campus? Scut, starting on Monday through October 16th.
My boyfriend actually in the sitting in the building class.
Oh,
And he's like, you should get it now.
Do you want him to stab you?
Not sure.
So in the ballroom in Scut from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yeah, looks like there'll be one Tuesday where they go a little later. I think we'll get one. All right, I haven't got your email yet. Okay. Yeah, until I get it, I'm going to keep working on this. Let's go 1. Let's go 1.5. Let's go 2. Let's go 2.5. Let's go 3. 4.5. 5. Okay. That's weird. I still haven't gotten it. Do you want to airdrop it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's create our animation here.
Is it airdrop on?
Say what?
Is it airdrop on?
It should be.
There's one popping up that.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh. Oh no.
Sorry. All right. Yikes. So what's your issue?
What's it?
Okay.
First, the status colors are not showing up the same way.
Ah. Okay. Let's fix that. That's why. So you need to stick. See how you have a swatch group? You have everything in that's separate from your H3. And you have it here, but it looks like there's a div that's probably missing because these swatches need to be inside of it. So if we look at your Sherry status swatch group, yep, it closes right here. Oops. So these, see, this is why indentation is really important, because like these should all be indented at the same level, and they're not. So indent that. Swatch, this is, oh, that's trying to be swatches. Oh, here's the problem. Those go in there. Yeah, indentation is super, super, super important. Why is, oh, I see, you're like, there we go. The heck, there. I mean, indentation isn't important for functioning, but it's important for reading it and debugging it. So this should be, yeah, so we're missing a div here. So we just add that. So now we have our div for swatch group, our div for swatches, which is not where we want that. Why did I think that needed to be there? Okay, that's a div swatch. How do you have these? Oh, I see. Okay. There we go. So swatches, swatches, swatches. There's our closer. There's our closer. That should be the right structure. Okay. Now if we go here, boom. That's a little messed up, but I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, because your label got stuck in front of it instead of after it. Hey. Oh, whoops. Curious. Oh, that's my bad. No, you're right. That should still be shut. Swatches, swatch group. Okay. Nope, that was my fault. So do you not have? Oh no. Okay. There we go. Does that make sense? I had messed up that swatches. So your swatches here need to have this. This is the div that has your color, your labels. Those need to be grouped, right, in swatches. Each of these 5 swatches for the status colors needs to be in a group called swatch group. That swatch group is a sibling of your H3. Because this swatch group is what has the display flex turned on. Make sense? Okay. All right, what's your second problem?
Undermine typography.
Yeah.
So I kept like trying to mess around with it, but the big A and the little A on the second font family, it was going through, but like it was going through as the serif, but then the tiny like font family under the headings and all that, it was like changed to a serif, even though I had the ID font label as it all being one font.
I guess I don't understand. This is like right here. This is a sans serif, and this should be a serif, right? Like these are all sans serifs, and they should be serifed.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's fix that. Oops. Oh, I see. Oh, this is easy to fix. 201. So it's a combination of an HTML structure that needs to be fixed, and where are we at? That's 201. Okay, so for the parent, you're applying the sans serif value, but for all the p tags, you're applying the serif value. For all the p tags, you're applying the sans serif value. So what happens is, what div is this? So you got to clean this up, because it's really hard for me to look at it and be like, oh, here's the problem.
Yeah.
Right? Because like all this is not indented correctly. And that really does like, oh, you're doing bold. I gotcha. Don't do this here. You can do it in the CSS. PID font label. Anyway.
I think I created the p tag and then helped change it. And
well, so you didn't wrap this in a p tag.
Oh.
Right? So if I wrap this in a p tag, and really it should be indented.
Well, but what if that changed the second one, like the body copy part to the serif?
What is all this? So what's going to happen is it's going to change it all to sans serif, and because of this here is more specific than this, because the PID or the div ID serif is applying to a parent group, whereas the P declaration is applying to specific elements. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. I mean, this doesn't matter too much, but let's just do this. Okay. I'm just cleaning up indentation. So what's going to happen? Yeah, it goes to sans serif. Okay. How we fix that is You can leave this here, but then you can say div ID serif p, and just do font family bt serif. Oops. Yes, I know. So that changes it back. Unfortunately, that then overrides your labels, right? Which is not what you want to have happen. So you might need to. Do you have? Where is PID? Where is font label? Okay, so you're only setting font label specifically inside div ID body inline. So let's actually. Oh, and you're only setting color. So let's change.
Well, we need like another font.
Where?
It's under the status one. The status one.
In your CSS? Div ID status? Or,
I think I need a tag.
P font label. PID font label. PID font label. Oh, you do set font family here. So why are we not taking that? Oh, interesting. Oh, because again, that's general. Well, yeah, so section column serif. Somehow that's not being applied. This is not being applied somehow. Why is that not being applied, Alex? That's 210. What line are we on here? 129. Oh, that doesn't have font label. There we go. This has font label. Still, 129 is not being applied. For some reason, PID font label does not show up. So can we, let's write this in. Font family. It's Helvetica. So Helvetica is not a web font.
It's not.
Where are you loading it from?
Oh, I might have cheated the system.
How did you cheat the system?
I don't know, because I spent like almost 2 hours trying to figure out what font was going to look good on the style guide, as well as finding it on Google Fonts.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like gave up, and I just like put Helvetica in it. Like,
Child 3. Yeah, so Helvetica is not a font family.
Okay.
Okay, it won't work on Windows machines, for instance.
Okay.
Windows machines use Arial, which is slightly different. You need to pull all of your fonts from Fonts Google, because you have to load them up here, and it looks like you're only load. Oh, you are loading Helvetica. Is there a Helvetica on here?
No, it's copyrighted.
And how did you just put this in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't work. What it's doing is load. It's not loading it, and it's loading just whatever the default sans serif font is for that system.
Does it go UI work?
Does what?
Does it go UI work?
Is it on the website? How do you spell it?
SEGOE.
No. This is telling you it's going somewhere else. I mean, they are web fonts, right, in a sense, but you have to get them from somewhere else, and they're not part of the fonts, the Google font CDN.
Yeah.
So it's not going to load. It's just going to load. That's why we put that sans serif and serif attribute after the name of the font, so that if it can't find that font, it loads whatever the default is.
So will Arial work?
What?
Let's see if Arial works.
Arial won't work. It's not a web font either. It'll work for you because it's your default sans serif. Whatever the default Windows 10 sans serif font is. Serif and sans serif are just classes of fonts, right? So whatever your default sans serif is, that's what it'll load.
So then when I change my style, then
Yeah. I don't know why this is not loading. I mean, we could do this. We could say, we could do like section call. Let's see if that works. Nope. Yeah, it really wants section class. What did I say? Section class call, yeah. All right, so let's do section ID serif. Wait, is that a section? Div ID serif. P font label. God damn. Okay. So you do font X. Oh, div ID X. Font X. Div ID serif. Font head X. Gosh. Okay. Do we need to do P font label space P ID font label. Let's try to see if this is going to work. There's something about how you've done it that it. All right, so that worked for that one. Div serif, div head X. All right, let's close sans serif. Font X, font example, P label, head X. Oh, because it's inside of one. I gotcha. It's like you have to get really specific. So like this would need to be div and then this to get to this one. And that would work for them. That should work for these. Okay. And then it needs to be body X, body copy, be lorem, or no, body X, body copy. Whoa, body copy is. Why is body copy empty? Do you know why that's empty? Because it puts, what it's doing is it's putting a little bit of weird space up there at the top. No, it's not. For some reason, that's empty and that shouldn't be. So go through this and clean some of that up.
Okay.
But essentially what's happening is you've got this setting, wherever it is, I don't remember. This setting right here is kind of overriding, yeah, this setting right here actually is setting all the P elements within div serif to be PT serif, which is kind of what you want, but that's overriding your div ID font label stuff, which it's like it shouldn't be, but that could be because some of your HTML is not written correctly.
Okay.
So clean up your HTML and then let me know if it's still kind of funky for you. Okay, and then we'll address it. All right. How are you guys doing? Alex and
I'm good.
Drayden?
I'm actually.
Oh, never mind. Why are you here? Oh, okay. That's fine. All right, well, I'm just going to keep playing with the animation stuff. Well, Drayden, if you want, you can do some animation stuff. What are we going to call this animation, guys? What are we gonna call it? We'll just call it ooh, fun. Good. Yeah. Great. Fun. Let's say we want it to last 5 seconds. Now let's go 6 seconds. 5 point. Now let's go 1 second. Infinite. I don't think that's gonna be right though, because we have a delay of like up to 6 seconds. We have to count that delay in. It's 2 seconds though. It's just your duration, so it's gonna do it each. Yeah, no, that's right. We want it to be 1 second. We want it to be infinite. Fun 1 second, infinite, and what? Linear. Linear. Okay. All right, let's go back to our keyframes. All right, so what's happening? At 0%, it should be, what should it be? 0%, it should be what it is, which is font weight 300, font style normal. At 100, it should be font weight 700, font weight, or font style italic. All right. What's the other thing I wanted it to do? Oh, I wanted to change colors. So we should do color. I guess just start with the. Yeah, what was the red? What did I say it was? Like that. Primaries. FF7171. All right, and then this should end where? Oh, we could do a couple different colors. Actually, now I'm thinking about it. Let's just have it run through all the colors. So let's go 10% color. I guess orange is next. %. We'll do yellow. %. I can do an orange or a green. I mean, yikes, that's a frightening green. Do a light blue. This is going to go through these colors really fast because our duration is 1 second, so it's gonna cycle through these. We might have to change the duration a little bit. Oops. Oh, I keep like. Together. 70% color X. Okay, that brings us mostly back around. All right, so how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 colors. Shoot. Just gonna go through all those and then change to be heavy. Well, whatever. We'll just see what this looks like. How do you divide 11? All right, so we'll call this 11%, 22%, 33%, 44, 55, 66, 77. I guess it's still not right. Whatever, that's fine. Let's test it and see. So we're calling fun up here. I think I got everything right. Well, it's not changing color, but look what it's doing. Okay. Oh no. Where is it? It's not even delaying. It's just like, why is that not delaying? Yeah, yeah.
In the CSS, can we like nest functions instead of kind of like Java?
No. There's no functions in CSS.
I mean, like nest like style stuff like inside curly braces, inside curly braces.
No, CSS is not really a scripting language. It's a markup language like HTML. So it's very bare bones. It's not programming. Like, you're just writing characteristics that the browser is interpreting. Animation is just that the browser is interpreting it constantly and kind of can treat it as with like a refresh rate. So it doesn't. You can't do anything really complicated with it.
So it can't script anything in CSS.
No, no, no. We will get to jQuery, I think, this semester. So you can do. We'll do some stuff with jQuery.
There's some stuff in here I'd like to do,
Like what?
like kind of mouse over stuff and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, you can do mouse over things. Like, but what kind of mouse over things do you want to do?
Kind of just change color or change the picture.
Well, you can do that. That's just a hover. Like, just change the characteristics with the hover.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that's easy. That stuff's easy. Okay. Why, oh why is this happening this way? So, italic, font weight 700, font weight 700, italic. It's not even getting to that though. It's doing the italic part, like it's. See what it's trying to do? Like, it's telling me where I put those colors on that spectrum. And it's running through it. But it's not changing. I wonder if it's because I declared what the color should be at the beginning. Let's take that part out. Nope, it's just gray again. Why are we not running through our colors? Why aren't we doing colors? The animation delay is working. Gradient. Oh. I gotcha. I need to apply the specifically to the H1. So I don't need the webcam animation part. So okay. All right. Dang it. There we go. Success! That's what I wanted it to do. That's all I wanted today, guys. That's it. How great is that? Yeah? Yeah? Everyone's just like, I guess. Oh no. Why are these right on top of each other? So H1, this one has an animation delay. Oh, 0.1 seconds. Whoops. I screwed that up. That would be a problem. Not 0.1, 1.5. 1.5, oh, whoops, these are all messed up then. 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, and 6. Okay. There we go. Here we go. Watch. Boom. 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 Yay. Okay. Oh gosh, these are like the same again. What is going on? How is... That's the first child. It's the second child. They have different delays. What is going on? But they're moving at the same time. It should not be. They should be moving opposite each other. Boom. Boom. Look, they do. They sync up. Why are they syncing up? Two n. Oh, 2n plus 1. How is this getting 2n plus 1? 34. Did I write a 2n plus 1 rule? I did. It's right here. Shoot. Yeah, but how do they... Sorry, I'm really baffled by how they are synchronizing. That's just the starting color. Why can't I see why this is 2 seconds? It's half a second delay. I don't know. I don't know why. They shouldn't be. They should all be offset. Oh, I guess it's offset more? What? What? Oh gosh, I'm an idiot. You guys, I am such an idiot. Okay, that's why. Because I had it a full second off and it was not letting it stay synced. That was making it match up eventually. So you got to keep everything that half second off. So anyway, so there's some fun effects you can do by piecing together delays and timing functions. Okay. Now this should be, there we go. That's what I wanted. So that's kind of fun, right? I don't know. Things you can do. Other simpler things we could do, like we could change the shapes of these guys on hovers. So we could say something like, what are those? Those are our swatch. So let's find our swatch. Where do we have swatch? We have swatches. All right. So here's this. So I'm just going to set it next to it. So we'll say div class swatch hover. And then we could change. You could even animate this change. Let's animate it, you guys. Let's just animate it. Enough with the silliness. So we will just put in animation in here. Oops. Animation. We do not need this WebKit animation. I don't know why it keeps putting it in there. So animation, we're going to call it the name. So we'll say shapes. And then we will say duration is 1 second. Infinite loop, and we'll say linear. Oh, you know what? Ease in out. I think it's hyphen. No. There's no easing there. Show me my timing function. CSS moz animation. All right, let's take a look at. Oh, I have it up already. So we have a timing function. Linear, blah blah blah. Let's talk about our timing functions. Ease. Animation. Timing function. So linear ease, yeah, ease in out is slow at the beginning, fast in the middle, slow at the end. And so it gives you a nice kind of like, if you combine it with a loop or loop reverse, I think is what you can do. Direction, alternate would be forward and then reverse. Like alternate would be the one we'd want to do. That gives you like a nice back and forth. Nice like bouncing. If you combine that with an ease in and out, then you get that rubber band effect that we might want. So I'm going to do this, and we're going to do alternate. Okay. So then we're going to set up our. Just type in keyframes. Yeah, keyframes. Okay. Ooh, come on. Keyframes. We'll call it shapes. Then we'll say at 0%, we want our shape to be. Well, now we gotta figure out how to make shapes, right? Do we want to go from squares to circles or squares to circles to triangles? How do we do triangles? CSS moz triangles. CSS triangle. Oh, this will be fun. Oh god, yeah, I forgot this is how you had to do triangles. All right, we'll try it. We'll see what happens. All right, so we're at 0. We're gonna leave it at what it is. Let's say we'll go square, triangle, circle. So it's gonna start off at square and then say like we'll go at 30. Well, we want it to end. So we'll say 50%. When you get to 50, we'll stick in the triangle stuff. So we're going to do arrow right. So I'm just going to copy all of this and just take out the order stuff. Oh, this is going to be different. That's right. Shoot. We're not going to be able to inherit the colors, the background color, are we? It has to be border. Okay, maybe we'll just skip triangles. Triangles are notoriously difficult. But we could just change colors or change it to a circle. So we could just say 50, and then to change it to a circle, just do border radius 50% will get you there. We can actually make it, we could do something like 25% for this, and then say at 100 is when we should get to border radius 50%, which is a full circle. All right, shapes. Okay, this should work. Let's come back, take a look, see how much we broke it. Oh, see? We have all kinds of fun stuff going on here. So something else you could do is we could then come in and say, just like we just did above, div swatch. You could go nth child, and then we could do, we have quite a few, so we could just do like odd animation delay, and this one would be 0.5 seconds. And then we'll say even, and we'll do 1 second and see what that does. Does nothing. Swatch. Oh, swatches. Because we got to do it to the parent. Swatches. Nope, still didn't work. Oh, swatch group. Swatch group. Group. Still didn't work. Interesting. Two N. So is it swatches? Swatches? No. One second. Curious. Huh. Is it because I'm applying the animation to... So they all had the delay then. Swatch. Oh. I want to grab every other swatch though. Do I want to grab it within palette? C palettes. Oh, C palettes. Div class C palettes, guys. Why did nobody tell me this? Is it just palette? No. Div ID C palettes. Div ID C palette. How do we spell? I don't know why I cannot keep that straight in my head. I don't know if this is going to work. No, it's palettes. C palettes. Div ID C palettes. I want to go through palettes and I want to grab, oh no, div class swatch. I want to grab all the swatches. Then I want to grab every other and delay it. It's delaying all of them. gde p1 swatch to swatch. Knucklehead, what is going on? Two n plus one. Yeah, that's not right though. 2n plus 1. These are all 2n plus 1. Because they're all the first one. Oh, God. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
I am definitely still recording this. Dang. Okay, I am missing something pretty big, and I can't decide if it's because of I can't decide what I'm missing. I think there we go. I got a nice little pulse instead of that thing it was doing. The little hatch. Now, getting them to alternate is tricky because they are all nested inside of parents, and they're always the first child inside of their parents. And that's what the animation is being applied to. Yeah, that's where the animation is being called. Oh, that's annoying. Okay. So the only way to do this is to put the delay in the animation call. I can't do it programmatically like this. So I have to go into like their IDs, P1, P2, all that jazz, wherever those are. ID P2. Find. Okay, so I have to come in here and put it in here. Animation delay, 5 seconds. But luckily I can just copy that. Paste. Do 1 second. Paste. Do 1.5 seconds. Paste. Do 2 seconds. Paste. This is what you gotta do if you want the fun stuff, guys. Go all the way. Commit. Just commit to it. 3.5 seconds. 4 seconds. Put it this way, if you put animation into your style guide of any kind, you'll get a lot more points in that inventiveness portion of the rubric. Okay? If you throw some animation in there, play around with it, get something interesting, or just kind of fun to look at and play with, you will definitely get, I'll definitely be like, great, because you explored. Yeah, Alex.
Do you know if CSS can access sound files?
Oh, there we go. Look, guys, look. Access sound files?
Yeah,
Like-
like you hover over something, it starts making sound.
That's a good question. I never tried that. Sound.
I think we're looking at something like that.
Sound on hover. Counter-Strike sword. Oh, right. No, you cannot. You have to use jQuery. Yeah. Although this was written a long time ago, so that actually might not still be true. So let's actually go Moz CSS audio. All right, what can we do with it? So here's the HTML for audio. Autoplay, controls. Boolean events. This is all JavaScript. I don't think you can. I mean, I guess what you could do is you could embed an audio in the HTML and have it set to autoplay, but then in your CSS, you have it disabled by default or like hidden. It's called hidden or visibility none.
Yeah.
And then when you mouse over, but if you change the visibility, just visibility hidden, because then it'll still show up in the DOM. It'll just be invisible. So you still have an object that you can, an invisible object that you can hover over. So then you do a hover and you change the invisibility to visible. And so visibility visible, and that would then load the sound. That should work. That should work. We can try it. But yeah, put some animation in your stuff, guys. Look at this. Look at this madhouse that we have going on.
There's like the line for creativity and overall.
There is no line. Go over that line. Burn that line down. Erase it from the earth. Okay? All right.